I find it helps when, for people to gauge how close they should be to the microphone.
Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, that sounds better.
So what's going
on? I'm getting married this August.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh. How long have you guys been together now?
Over 7 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was time.
And is it going to be like a big wedding?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, we invited around 150, but not that many people are coming. And then a lot of it is family because I'm the youngest of 7. And then Connor is the youngest of his family too.
Right. And where is it taking place?
Bunnell Farms in Litchfield, Connecticut.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Feels pretty good.
His name's Connor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's he from?
He was originally, I guess, from Winston, Torrington area, but he grew up all over, and now he's in Torrington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we grew up together in Litchfield because that's where he lived, so we went there a lot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what does he do professionally?
So he works with disaster restoration for Service Master. So he'll go into a house and take down stuff for insurance, if there's a fire or flooding or other things like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a pre-FEMA.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. He's getting sort of into the managerial side of it too because the company's small, but it's kind of crazy. So he's trying to deal with that every day in a boss that is difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you noticed, but we started.
Yeah, I do.
Now, I told you before that this doesn't have any particular format.
Yeah.
But it is meant to be just like a conversation between us. Although I do want to skew it just slightly. It's just a bit slightly towards an interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
reason I'm doing this is I don't know if you listen to many podcasts. Do you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a few.
My favorites are WTF with Mark Maron.
Mm-hmm. Never heard of it.
Or The Nerdist.
Okay.
Basically, my favorites are the ones that are essentially interview shows, but they're not quite interviews. They're
conversationalists.
They're more conversations than they are interviews. And for some reason, I find them more entertaining than the regular interview, because a lot of times they'll just walk in with a guest, they'll sit down and they'll start talking, and a lot of times the guest will be like, "Wait, are we on? Did we start?" They're just gonna slide in, and people tend to be more relaxed and forthcoming when it's not like a very formal interview.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Matt D'Avella? Do you know who he is?
Who?
Matt D'Avella.
No.
He's gotten really, really popular on YouTube really quick. He played the game pretty well, but he's about minimalism, and he does podcasts out of his kitchen, and he's grown a lot, and a lot of it is just conversations, and he has a lot of people on that are passionate. So it flows a lot better that way if you actually have a real relationship with someone, Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you have any questions for me then?
No, not really.
This is an interview.
I didn't prepare if that's what you meant.
That's fine.
Like I said, it's just us talking.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be particularly about anything. I don't have any real questions for you. We could spend the whole time talking about pickles.
I really like pickles. I'll put that out
really
there.
like pickles.
There you go. We got one thing in common.
Although my girlfriend Courtney, she has this caveat where she very much prefers dill pickles over, say, bread and butter pickles.
Yeah, I would too. It's less sweet.
Yeah, but to at least to me, maybe it's because I just I'm not quite picky, so I'm just like, yeah, they're pickles.
Yeah,
they taste fine. They're pickles. I like pickles.
I like pickled other things. I love pickled ginger. I'm obsessed with ginger, so I would eat that all day long. I like beets. I would eat those. Beets. Mm-hmm. When was the last time we even saw each other?
Yeah, when was it?
I don't know. Probably around school, but really last time we actually hung out was maybe I don't know, the art festival or something.
Because
Because I don't think we had a class together.
So my last semester at Northwestern Connecticut Community College was spring 2018. Spring 2018. Mm-hmm. And I think I was only hanging around the Arts and Sciences building.
Yeah. Yeah,
for that semester.
I wasn't really around that one. I was there after you left because I was in pottery, but...
Pottery for non-majors.
Yep.
Non-art majors.
And I loved it. I made the most pieces out of anybody, and everybody thought I was crazy, but I just wanted to do art. I miss being in the dark room, though. That was really fun.
Oh, yeah. It's a shame they shut it down.
I was pretty pissed about it, but I was pretty thankful that we got in right before it closed, so
yeah.
We at least got to say that we did.
Have you seen Mike?
No, I haven't seen him since. Mm-mm.
Do you know if he's still there teaching?
I think he's there part-time, yeah. Sue was saying that he was.
Well, yeah, he'd have to be part-time because they shut down the dark room.
I know.
He
wasn't there full-time before anyways.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
But, of course, right now, if he is still there, he's only teaching, like, the digital photography for non-majors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. But that apparently they brought in someone else, but it didn't sound like he was working out when I was there. So... I don't really know if he's going to stay on or not.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't know how that place is going to evolve with photography. I hope it goes somewhere because to me, like, that's where I got my base. So I'd want someone else to have the opportunity.
I'd say it's devolving. Yeah,
yeah, probably. Yeah, there's not as development in there, especially without a dark room.
Yeah, there's such I feel like there's such a dearth of an arts presence, at least in this corner of the state. Mm-hmm. And I feel, especially like, so they got rid of the photography department in Northwestern. Mm-hmm. I feel like the entire art department is it's not quite all there.
Yeah.
And then there's other things people try to do, like that guy that tried to start up a music venue, the Performance Hub on Main Street.
Yeah. Things don't stay very well in this town. They die. They don't really.
The thing is, I went there a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I thought it would have been cool if this wasn't Torrington, Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And especially, you know me. I mean, I'm a musician. I like music. I love music. I think it's the most important thing. And I long so much to have some kind of establishment, something to bring a presence for the arts, especially music, in this corner of the state.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because I think that there actually is like a good art presence here. I think it's just a matter of going and finding it, because when I was at Northwestern, Sue introduced me to a photographer that I ended up working with, mm-hmm. and she is in a whole studio, or not a whole studio, a whole studio apartment sort of thing, where there's creative people around her. And then right behind the school, there is Whiting Mills, or White Mills, whatever you want to call it.
Whiting
yeah,
Mills.
It is Whiting Mills. Okay. And that's like the biggest like art hub basically in this part of Connecticut.
Yeah. The American Mural Project. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, that, and then there's also, I went to an event that was talking about what they were doing with that mural project, and they're trying to bring in musicians and events and fashion shows. So there's a pull to do that, especially with being close to New York and Boston area. It's a good hub. There's a lot of people.
Well, close-ish. But.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean? Like it's still in that like streamline of people.
Yeah.
Like it's not that far of a drive. So there's people that are trying to do it, but it's kind of like we are the grassroots. Like we would have to be the ones to go out and do it. It's hard to engage people that are our age around here because first they're not really around, and then second of all they're super busy with whatever they're doing. Like they don't find it as important.
It also doesn't help that we're not Fairfield County.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be. I feel like there has to be some kind of like economic groundwork to be laid down that can incentivize people to come to this corner of the state so they can, find things, establish businesses that can help,
mm-hmm.
Bring about some kind of interest. I think what needs to happen is like there needs to like be a college here. Like someone needs to start a college. Now there was that branch of the Torrington branch of the University of Connecticut that was out in like the boondocks. But what needs to happen is like or just find a way to establish a college in the downtown area. You know what I mean? That can draw people from outside of the area, and also try to attract that. When people see college towns, they're like, I can like put a bar here, put a restaurant there, put a thing here, a record store, whatever, you know. And that I think that's what needs to happen to establish any kind of presence in, like, say, anything really, especially the arts.
Well, I would put it this way, like Connecticut it's drowning in debt, and the people that are in charge are not doing a really great job. Like they're pulling the budget for everybody, especially schools. In New England, that's kind of the reason why they put down the dark room at Northwestern. To me, it would be kind of strengthening Northwestern, realizing that it actually has a really good presence, and it's actually good that it's a small school. Like I think you got better education that way because your teachers were involved with you and not just the class and then getting out of there, you know, like I felt like their teachers really cared about us. And to me, that's important. But a lot of people, you know, when they're talking about colleges, they want to go straight away to a 4-year college, to go to UConn, to go to UHart, to go to University of New Haven, whatever. But I know someone who's a financial guy with a big company, and he went to Northwestern his first 2 years, and then he went to UConn, and he's like, Northwestern was 10 times better, and I learned way more there. So it's just, I think we need to change the way we talk about college, even in high school, because it's like, it's never ending. Like you need to go somewhere to be successful, or, you know, you need to spend a lot of money to make a lot of money. And to me, it's like, I found everything I needed at Northwestern, but I was resourceful. And as far as like getting the town known, I think they're redoing Franklin Street. So it's kind of like more of just a walking center. So hopefully that will, and the Good Company Coffee House has been doing pretty well there. So my hope is that, you know, the more they build on those things and the more things they keep on continuing to try and open up, the better we'll become, especially with social media. You know, you can get the name out there more. As a photographer who's trying to set up her business, I want to take photo shoots of people in Torrington. No one wants to go to Torrington to take photos. They don't see the beauty in it, but I do, you know?
Yeah.
So if I had that on the map and I said, this is a place you can go, like you can make any place shootable, which that place really is. There's cool stone and brick everywhere. I like the street corners, everything. It's just, you know, you have to find your own art where you are,
right?
You know? But yeah, it's, to me, I just think the college town, it does make sense. You have a lot of people there and they say, hey, this is the place where we can have our families and, you know, grow a business or whatever. But it's still, those things take a lot of money and they take a lot of time.
Right.
So it's kind of starting small scale. And I think a lot of things too, everybody's trying to think big picture, like how do we get the town government involved or something. But, you know, if we're not starting with just the general people, it's hard to get rallied behind anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, you are a photographer, in case no one's put it together.
Yeah.
Phoebe is a photographer. And
I shoot people.
She shoots people. I also shoot people in motion or whatever. And now, when did you start doing photography? I
was 16, but I've wanted to be a photographer since I was like 10. I just didn't think it was an actual thing that people could do. So.
Oh, I thought that was just like a matter of you literally could not afford your first camera until you were 16 or something.
No, you know, you had little point and shoots from Walgreens, but I just thought it was something like for people who were, you know, lived in New York all their lives and got in with some magazine. But that's kind of the only thing that you would see as a kid, and it's just blossomed. So.
And wait, you said how young were you that you learned of and were interested in photography?
I was interested in it since like 10, but I got my first job for a wedding when I was 16. And that was actually in Winsted too. So Winsted's been pretty good for me. That's where I met Connor. That's where I grew up going to church. That's where I went to college. That's where I graduated college. That's where I had a really good job for nannying. So it's a great town to me. And
what did you start shooting? The point and shoots, the disposable point and shoots?
I was probably like 9 or 10.
Okay. And what What do you think? Well, what exactly drew you to the art of photography?
Oh God. I remember being really little and just looking. So to go way back when I was like a toddler, apparently I used to just walk off on my own without my parents knowing. So
as you do.
Yeah. So, and you've been in the city with me. I kind of get distracted, a lot.
Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. So my parents would, have strangers be bringing me home and they'd be like, where's Phoebe on the beach? And so I always kind of get caught up in my own world. That's always the way I've been. So when I got
we
older,
have a Phoebe Casciani. She ended up in Maine.
Yeah.
And
that probably could have happened. But no, I've always been interested in people. I thank God that I was an extrovert because I was the youngest of 7. So there's no way I could have gone around people, I had to deal with them. I've just always saw things close up and looked at things a different way and thought like, I wish I could just show people what I see. And I didn't have a way of doing that until I realized that I could be a photographer. So.
And what was your first real camera?
I think my parents gave me. Well, what do you define as real? Because I had like a cool Pix point and shoot. I don't know if you do that.
Like something that's not
like a DSLR.
I guess you could say it's not defined by the equipment, but defined by what you were doing.
Yeah, I would say when I was around 15, my parents got me a DSLR, pretty basic. I think it was a T3i or something.
Canon Rebel T3i.
Yeah, which is
sponsored by Canon.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I started with.
And what were the first things you were really shooting on a camera?
Plants, my house, my stuffed animals.
I've noticed there are a lot of plants in your portfolio.
Yeah? Did you really? What do you mean, in like the black and white film I did, or just?
I just saw like vegetation plant.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that looks like that. I see a trend there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The photographer I work with is even more so. She's all about plants and stuff. So I guess that's definitely an influence.
That's the name of the exhibition: plants and stuff.
That stuff, especially the stuff. But no, yeah, I started with that, and then I upgraded DSLR every so often, but really just upgrading with lenses. And then when I went to school, I was like all about learning about digital photography and doing the best I could. And then they're like, you're going to do a year of film. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to do this. But then when I got into it, I fell in love. I loved it instantly.
Yeah. My first exposure to photography was our photography class at Northwestern.
Oh, that's sweet.
I guess generally speaking, I knew how cameras worked. Not really. And like, you can mess with settings and then you point at something and you press the button. But that really was like my first experience with photography, learning about the finer details of what goes into a film camera and how it works. And to this day, I find I've not practiced photography in a while, but generally speaking, I think I work better with film than digital because I learned how film photography works, how the camera works, and like, okay, that makes sense. These things, and I take photos and it's fine. But the thing with digital photography is that it feels so much. It's like I have a Canon Rebel T6i DSLR camera, and it feels like there are way too many settings to fiddle around with, and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. There's these switches, this wheel, and more often than not, I'm just like, put on the scene intelligent auto thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you don't want to have to think about it that much.
No.
Yeah,
especially since I guess it's almost like the film cameras, though they are you could say complicated, they were simple enough. I'm just like, okay, follow the light meter.
Yeah. It only gives you so much to do. So it's kind of, it's funny because it limits you in a way that, like, if you have like 200 film in there, then you can't go into a super dark situation because it's not going to come out that great, right? Because it's not that sensitive. But you're like, okay, well, I can be outside or I can be in a light space indoors. And I just have these 3 little things to adjust. And then I could just snap my photo and I'm good, you know, or 2 things, I guess. You have the f-stop and then the light meter, and then you just shoot. So that is almost more freeing because we have just less to think about, and you can think a lot more about composition, and you have to take your time though, because there's only so many shots that you can take, and you can't redo it. You can't look at it, delete it, and then retry.
Yeah.
So with like a DSLR, when I went back to it, I was like, this is so fast. It is, but it was, I don't know, it just didn't feel as special. You know, it wasn't an excitement, like you knew what you were doing and you could see it right away. It was instant gratification instead of waiting for a process.
It feels rather disposable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it is. Yeah. Yeah, there's ups and downs to it though. Like film it's still expensive. A lot of people, you know, you have to outsource a lot of things with film. And a lot of people just don't get it. So in a way, you know, the question that came up all the time, is film dead? I don't think so. But for like mass consuming and, you know, mass producing and people buying those sort of things, it is kind of slowed down.
Now, are you still shooting on film?
Yeah, I eventually would like to have people maybe do some sort of package where film is included. But if I shoot film, it's just for me, you know? Right. Yeah. I'm
the same way, actually. Yeah. Especially because sometimes I market myself as a photographer, which is really not in line with who I am. I don't keep a lot of photos. In fact, I keep none.
Yeah, I remember. I probably have some of your photos actually, because I keep everything.
Or I mean, I keep the portfolios from the photography classes. I have those, but they're like tucked away in a corner, and I don't keep photos in the way normal people do. Yeah, like I don't go on trips. First of all, I don't go on trips, but if I do go on trips, it's not like I'm spending every second taking photos of everything. Yeah, and the only photo I keep like on my phone is not even a photo. It's a graphic of the circle of fifths, which is a music thing.
Why don't you want to keep any photos? Like what makes you decide then to even take photos at all?
If I take photos, it's for practical reasons. Like say, I need to remember when this establishment is open. I'm going to take a photo of the hours are on the front door. And then even then, I don't keep it for that long because it was only meant to remind me like when that place is open. And at some point, I'm probably going to remember when they're open, and so I delete the photo. And same thing with the only image I keep on my phone, the a graphic of the circle of fifths, which is a tool for musicians to like remember key signatures and such. And so it's all very practical. Not only that, but I don't want, for some reason, if I were to go on a trip where it feels exciting, I'm in this place, I'm doing stuff, but I don't want to have all my time going to taking photos of where I am. Yeah. Instead, I want to be able to spend that time and energy being there. Yeah.
That's what's kind of cool about digital too, is that, you're still not, film. That's what's cool about film, is you're not on a digital device, even if you're taking photos. So it still feels to me like you're there. Like to me, part of being there is taking photos, because I'm like super big on human connection and remembering those moments, because I want to share it with other people. I'm a big sharer. I'm a big connector, which I don't think is exactly your personality, which is totally fine. It's just a difference of people, but that is sort of a special thing about film. Like you can still, to me, be all there and look pretty cool with your film camera on you. But, you're still focused on that, because it's not like you can look down and see what you just took. You have to just snap it and put it away.
Yeah. Also, since everyone else is constantly taking photos, I don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're going to a place together, everyone else is taking photos. I remember I was there, and if I don't, I have them. Yep. I have their photos to reference.
Well, see, I take good photos, so I think that's different.
Now,
it's true.
Good photos.
Good photos, not crappy ones.
Now, when you say good photos, what do you mean?
I mean, compositionally pleasing to look at, which doesn't exactly mean it's a good photo. Getting someone with their eyes open without them blinking or something.
Right. Candid photos.
Yeah. Candid photos. I just love like trying to catch the essence of the person I'm with or the place I'm at, trying to really catch what's going on there and not just like snapping a photo just to snap a photo.
Yeah.
I want there to be purpose behind it.
Yeah. That's the, you kind of boil down why I don't take photos. There has to be a purpose for it. So in the case of like, say, for practical reasons to remember this for a certain period of time before I don't need it. And also, so it's not so much I only take photos for practical reasons, but if I were to take photos, it'd be like fine art photography.
Yeah.
That is very purposeful. Like, we were in our photography class, we were introduced to that guy, Gregory Crutzen, who the way
amazing.
And the way he works is like, it's almost like he's a film director.
Yeah.
He's setting up all these like, these fictionalized scenes that are like a still from a film. And it's, when you think about that, it's like, a microcosm of a film production.
Yeah.
Everything
it takes months for him to think about it, and then months to gather a whole team of people, and then hours and hours to set it up just to take photos.
It takes a long ass time from, pre-production, photography, and then post-production. And so it's, you have to plan that out. You have to hire people. All of it is very purposeful. It's not just I walked by this thing, I snapped a photo of it. There's so much forethought and preparation that goes before it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. You have to like work to do something like that. You have to love it, or else you're gonna literally like kill yourself. Like it's a lot of work, And I'm someone who's like pretty ambitious. Like I get not bored, but I get pretty like depressed if I'm not doing something big. Like I'm just a big visionary, I guess you could say. And I think Gregory is that same way. He went through Pittsfield, Massachusetts, like this dump of a place. And he said, no, really though, like, who would go through there and be like, this is where I want to shoot my pictures. This is the place. Like no one would.
Sorry to the listeners in Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
Hey, sorry. But this is the way that the world is. I wouldn't think that. Again, I'm in Torrington, Connecticut, and I'm like, this place is beautiful. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, okay. I work at Home Depot and I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool to do a shoot in here. And everybody's like, why? It's wood. Like there's wood around you and metal. And I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful, Yeah. So it's the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But it's a lot of work. You have to love what you do. And you have to believe in it. You really do.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you want to do?
How do you mean?
You're a pretty practical person, but you said you wanted to go into like film production, at least like a few years ago, a year ago.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, right now I'm attending the University of Hartford as a double major in film and English.
Really?
With a minor in music.
How's that going?
It's going okay. This past semester I took 4 English classes.
Is that all, or was it
I took 4,
including?
It was 4 English classes, a film class, and an education course. The English program I'm in the program is called English Secondary Education. So I would be certified to teach high school. I would receive a certification to teach high school as I'm earning my English degree.
Oh, that's cool.
And because of all these, plus, it's almost like triple majoring plus a minor. And so with all these requirements to fulfill, I'm like...
So like school is just your life.
My curriculum is just filled to the brim.
Yeah. It sounds like it's over.
Yeah.
The brim too. Like that's a lot.
It's especially hectic because, at Northwestern, the community college, most people who are smart, not me, they go to community college to take care of their general education requirements.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Why? You were right there.
Because I wanted the specific degree I got at Northwestern was an associate's in science for digital media because I figured that is the closest thing to filmmaking they have because it's the like one of the main bits of that major is videography, which is basically digital filmmaking, but for like commercial purposes. And you know, I had literally no idea where I was going to go after that. I'm just like, I'll apply to film schools and stuff, I guess, plus state schools. And then the circumstances fell into place that, you know, University of Hartford, close-ish to home. They have a film program. They're throwing money at me.
Yeah. Let's just go, right? Yeah.
And
they're pretty good with the arts too, is what I've heard.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They have it is a proper university where they have like a real art school, a music school, an actual department for film. And when I did get accepted and decided to go there, I also, for some reason, I was only accepted as a film major, right?
Yeah.
But then I thought, a degree in film isn't doing me many favors. Now, if I say it like that, I would have been in and out in like a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
But then I decided, I'll double major in English because that's the only other thing that I would tolerate studying.
Yeah.
And not only that, I was like, but they have their own program where you get certified to teach because I know with an English degree, the only real thing you do is teach. I was like, I'll do that too. And then
just threw music in there somewhere, right? That's cool. What are you doing for the music then?
How do you mean?
Like you said, did you take a class this past semester?
A couple of classes. I took a couple of courses in music theory, which I found child's play because I'm such a nerd for music, the nuts and bolts of how music works.
Yeah.
No, I spent literally years studying theory on my own, and at first it was a bit bumpy because even with all those years studying theory, the only thing missing was like reading.
Yeah. Which is required.
Yeah. And so I literally did not even really know how to read music until I got into a class. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's something you gotta know.
And then so I took a couple of theory courses, and this fall I'll be taking a couple of courses in guitar. But and one of the other requirements for a program in music there is a couple of courses in ear training, which is not my forte.
Ear training, huh? Do you like start off by like waxing your ears out every time?
I cleaned my ears out recently. That's what you.
That's good. That's good. So do you think, does that mean you'll be able to like teach music too?
I don't know. Really? I don't think so. Cool. I feel like maybe if I were like at a high school that's not well-to-do, like my high school, I could get by with like teaching a theory course, I bet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't confirm this.
Would you want? Okay, what about this, Benson? You know, teaching is not just about teaching the subject at hand. It's about dealing with a lot of kids or high schoolers and trying to connect with them and get them interested in what they're actually learning.
What are you asking?
Do you like, would you be up for that challenge? Like, how would you, to me, like, again, you're a very analytical person and someone that's very practical, which is a good thing.
Which is weird because I'm in the arts and humanities.
Yeah. It's a lot of dealing with people. You can't really get away from them. So how do you deal with that? Like,
now I don't like people.
What do you mean?
But, I feel like just working like menial jobs where I have to deal with public, I can, I've developed I don't want to say a face or a front, but I can put on my polite face.
Yeah.
And
but kids can see right through that.
It's called being professional, kids. Yeah. But I don't know. Well, I think if I
mm-hmm.
as I fall into teaching.
Yeah.
I think the main objective would be just to make sure kids are literate and to like be rather gruff about it. Like if there's imagine if there's anyone kind of not really putting the best foot forward, being not really invested in, say, reading. I'm just gonna be straight up with them. Like, if you don't know how to read, that means you're an idiot. We live in an age, in a society where being literate is just one of the few basic skills that you need.
Yeah.
Now you could say that I just need to be able to read. Okay, that's fine. That's all I need. Well, you also need to like be able to think about things.
Interpret.
There's a difference between reading something and understanding it.
Oh yeah.
And one of the few things I've learned this past year in my English classes over at the university is that I've never understood literature, really. Because, like, I had advanced English classes in high school. I was in AP English and stuff. But I never really learned how to read into literature.
Like interpret what's going on and like see the meaning behind things. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
We would read, but we wouldn't read into it.
Yeah. It's just kind of like get it done and that's it.
And I learned how to there's a skill that English majors talk about called close reading. Where it's looking at the text, picking up on like little clues, literally like in the words, in the characters on the page, and being able to draw something from it, to synthesize an interpretation that is based in literally what's in front of you, the text. And I've practiced with those 4 English classes in a single semester, 3 of which were 400 level, like very niche, very English major specific courses. I learned how to close read, and to the point where in a single discussion session, I could throw out like, for a piece of text that I read very in a cursory manner the night before, I could throw out like 2 or 3 different interpretations based on that segment.
Yeah. It's like poetry. Man, poetry is confusing. But that's the kind of the point about it. You can just have so many interpretations of that, and it can mean something totally different to one person than the other. It's a beautiful thing about literature. That's what it's all about. That's an art in itself. It's a whole interpretation. Yeah.
And I think this is the final nail in the coffin for me not being like a physics major anymore, or whatever the hell. In case you didn't know, I once attended the University of Connecticut as a physics major.
No, I didn't know that.
And, because I grew up thinking I was going to be in STEM, like an academic in STEM, in a STEM major. But then, and it doesn't make sense because I'm very good at math and science. I like looking at systems, the way things work, and the nuts and bolts of things.
Yeah.
And then being thrown into advanced English classes where I do have to practice something called close reading. It's like...
Did it feel like foreign to you?
Kind of, because it was, very... I don't want to say dense or difficult texts, but it's just that there was a lot to chew on in terms of
there's
interpretation.
A lot of meat. That's funny. You said chew because I was thinking meat.
Like there was one of the books I read was called So Long a Letter by Mariama Bach. And it's only like 100 pages long, but within each page, there's just so much you can draw, you can synthesize, so much meaning you can synthesize from each paragraph.
Yeah.
And the way I had to, but through these classes, I had to like rewire my brain and fundamentally change the way I read. Mm-hmm. It's like nonfiction, reading like a manual or something, like the information here, there, that's all I need.
Yeah.
But with the way you need to think to interpret texts it's like you have to make little subtle jumps in logic, and like it's like lateral thinking, making connections to things that normally wouldn't make sense in a very, like if you were Spock, you couldn't understand literature
because it's too layered.
It's not like it's not exactly if you're reading a manual, it's point A to point B.
Yeah,
that's just like this point about this is information, you retain it, you learn it, then it's done. Mm-hmm. But it's all about reading between the lines and being able to wrap your brain around the text and be able to come to realizations about the subtext that comments on the text itself.
Yeah. Listen, there's like a new layer to you, Benson. You're learning so much. Oh my word.
Oh my God, I'm learning stuff at university.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've almost had the like opposite experience. Like I have to be more analytical than, because I can kind of wrapped up again in my own world and be pretty much all about the story and stuff. And you got to get down to the nitty gritty of things sometimes, and learn about the technical side of everything and make sure you're doing it right. Especially as I get more equipment and have to get lighting and things like that, and make sure those things are on point, because otherwise you can't get the shot you want. That's interesting though, how you're going down kind of the English route, because I didn't know you would do that.
Me neither.
Oh man, what about film then? Like, what would you still like want to go for that? Do you think you're going to drop it as?
Oh, I'm still majoring in film. I'm double majoring in film and English. That's not going to change.
Okay. Cool.
Because my passion is filmmaking. Yeah. And I desperately want to be able to call myself like a real filmmaker, because in the realm of arts and entertainment, I feel like that's the thing. Film is the thing. Mm-hmm. When I first decided I'm not going to do science or anything like that anymore, it was because I realized arts and entertainment were the things that mattered to me.
Yeah.
The only things that mattered to me. And to me, film is like the perfect culmination of all other arts. Writing, directing, acting, photography, mm-hmm. cinematography, costume design, music.
Yeah, it brings it all together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. What brought you to that? Like, what made you realize that?
Who's podcasting who now? I think it was when I was at the University of Connecticut as a physics major. And it's probably when I first started playing music.
Yeah. How old were you when you started playing music? Was it like just the guitar? Was it the piano or what?
The first thing I touched was piano, keyboard at 16.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's funny, 16.
Yeah, but I would say it didn't get serious until I was 17 and I picked up guitar. Mm. And at that point, all bets are off. I'm like spending all of my time shirking responsibilities, sitting in my room playing guitar. And
so you don't take new things lightly. You go like fully into it.
In fact, it wasn't even so much I wanted to play guitar. It was I knew I was a fan of music. I loved music so much.
Yeah.
I still do. That I thought Well, the next step is becoming a musician. I don't know if I'm going to like playing music.
But that's the
I
next step.
I looked at a guitar. I'm just like, I'm going to be good at that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. It's not, the fact of me liking it was incidental. I'm just like, I like music this much. I should be a musician. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm going to like it though. Let's do it.
That's something you got to do. But you decided, and that's what made you do it.
And of course, starting that late and being, I'm still a shitty musician. I wouldn't. In fact, I feel like a fraud calling myself a musician. But I knew like studying music in a formal capacity, like going to a music school, wasn't going to work out for me because, like, I had just started and I knew I wouldn't be proficient enough to be like in an actual music program.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, if I don't want to be a scientist or whatever, and if arts and entertainment are the things that matter to me, what's the thing that, you know, what is the avenue by which I could be involved in arts and entertainment?
And you chose film?
Yeah.
I see. Now, I mean, when we were hanging out, we were always talking about like the Beatles, or you were talking about some film that I knew nothing about. Every name you mentioned, I was like, I don't know who that is.
You should keep in mind, these weren't like obscure French films from the 50s. These were just like, it's like, what would have been a film like you didn't know that I mentioned?
I mean, I finally watched Pulp Fiction, but that was probably one that you mentioned. I love that movie, by the way. Tarantino is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had no idea who he was. And even if you said like Ringo Starr, I'd be like, wait, who is that? Even though I know exactly who it is. Part of the Beatles. Wait,
in one of my classes, there was a girl who thought Jimi Hendrix was in the Beatles.
I don't even know who Jimi Hendrix is. Again, I know his name, but I don't know who he belongs to.
He was a guitarist.
Okay.
He was probably the greatest rock guitarist to ever live.
Who do you play for?
Himself.
Oh.
The Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Oh.
He had songs like Purple Haze.
Mm-hmm. That just makes me think of Purple Rain, which is Prince.
Voodoo Child.
Voodoo Child. Okay.
A cover of Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower.
I'll have to look him up. See, I love music, but it's kind of like I just have to learn as I go. Oh, my dad called. Ooh. I wonder what that's about. Wait, okay, Jimi Hendrix, right?
Yeah.
Jimi.
Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, I'm going to look him up later. Yeah, but I mean, I love the Beatles. I love them. I absolutely love them.
Yeah, me too.
I still have a video of you playing in the stairs,
the stairwell of the Arts and Sciences building?
Yeah.
Right.
Which one were you playing?
I was playing In My Life.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that song as well until you played it, and I was like, I love that. Yeah, I love old music. People are always asking me why I know so much about music. I might not know the names of the songs. I know, but I might not know the name of the songs, but I know the songs. You know, when I hear, I can sing along to everyone. And people that think that's funky, but I had a dad who was, 47 when I was born, and I just listened to music that he listened to, and it was like the Beatles, I don't know anybody else's name. Bob Dylan, everybody, You
don't even know the names of the people in the Beatles.
I loved Stevie Wonder when I was growing up.
Oh, me too.
Do. I love Airbnb.
Airbnb.
I know that's not it. See, I don't know names of
a relaxing bed and breakfast.
Yeah, that's right. Let's just go to an Airbnb. How about that?
That's the new genre there.
What is it? What is that?
Rhythm and blues, R&B.
R&B. I love R&B. That's what I mean. R and B.
Airbnb. Mm-hmm. Welcome to WRBNB, where we play relaxing music that is fit for a bed and breakfast.
Would you ever do like a podcast of music? Would you just be like, this is me playing this song and just doing it?
No, that's called making a record.
That's true.
Yeah. I made little bits to like put into the podcast, like say like the usual format for the podcast would be like an intro bit where like I introduce the episode, the guest,
and then music in the background,
like
and kind of goes in.
I record. I think my go-tos right now are going to be like a bluesy guitar thing to transition from the intro bit to the actual content of the episode, the conversation I have with the guest. And then at the end, it'll just be an abrupt going to this little ditty I wrote on piano.
Yeah, but stuff you make up on your own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Well, I wouldn't really say like...
Well, inspired by maybe something else.
The reason I'm playing a 12-bar blues in the beginning is because you can't copyright that.
Yeah, there you go. Hey. That's important. No, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like you just got to create stuff. So it's good that you're doing this. Like, even if it's just something just...
You hear that, people? We are creating.
Listen, you're documenting right now.
We are creating a digital recording.
You're saving something, Benson.
With our mouths. And this very high-tech piece of equipment.
Which is not cheap. So enjoy. I know that for a fact my brother-in-law has those stuff for videography. Well, so, like, you wouldn't want to do something like you wouldn't want to do stuff like weddings and stuff I see people doing, right? And that I would work with.
For videography?
Yeah. Like, my brother-in-law has a business and people will hire him for wedding photography. And then my brother-in-law will hire him to do videos of their condos that they rent out to other people.
I mean, I suppose I could. I wouldn't know if that's
not really what you want to do.
The end goal is to like make films.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Would you ever like feel like you could, would you want to like go out to a city and like trying to apprentice with someone? Do you think you could like make those kind of connections to get out there and do that? Like, would that be a dream of yours? Or is it more like you just kind of want to do your own thing where you are?
Oh, call up our friend Jimmy. He has his own company.
Yeah. He's, but to me, like, the way he communicates and the way that he's focused on it, like, he just kind of does this and that with it. And I don't think he's found his niche exactly what he's going to do full time yet with it. Cause I think he's dabbled in a lot of different kinds of photography and he's still figuring that out too, just like I am. He's doing well, but I just don't know what exactly he wants to focus in. So to me, it's like kind of figuring that out as you go and then really being able to hone into that. Because if you're, doing this and that, then like people are like, well, what kind of videographer are you? What are we going to hire you for?
I think that just means, wait, you mean he's like...
Well, like he's done weddings and like he's gone to universities and done like science stuff. But it's like, is that really what he's all passionate about? Or is he just kind of taking what job is next? To me, I want to figure out.
I think that's the job that's the job of a videographer, really. Yeah. When you're,
especially at the beginning,
when you're like working freelance, like he does, it's mostly like, I'll take any job.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you need a video to be made about this thing? Like, I can do it. I do video.
Yeah, I guess that is a little different than photo, too, because photo, it's like... But I don't know. I think video, too, like, certain things inspire you to shoot and other things don't.
Yeah, that's the difference between doing, like, say, fine art photography and being a photographer for hire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You could say, like, if you do portraits of families, you run, like, if you have your own photography business and people come into like, hey, we need a photo of all of our family together. That's you being a photographer for hire, right?
Yeah.
And it's not so much I'm just saying art.
When you work with someone and you want to do something specific, usually you try and find someone who's very established and knows what they want, and is like the photographer I worked with, she knows that she does fine art photography for weddings and like elopements. Like that's her passion. That's what she works with mainly. So to me, it's like that's someone who knows where she's very established in what she wants to do and she's moving towards a goal and she's very passionate and she's very driven to do that one goal.
Right.
And she wants to grow and travel and do other things like that too. So she dabbles a little bit here and there, but people know her for that, and she's happy about that. You know, that's what she wants to be known as. And to me, when you want to like apprentice under someone, you want to do something like that, even if that's not what you end up doing. I don't know if that's what I'll end up doing, but that's what I'm going to go towards for right now, at least.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I mean, there's always side projects and stuff on the side, but eventually you have to figure out what you want to do, because then you can't even like charge as much, because people's like, well, that's not really what you do. You do just kind of hire for anything, you know? So it's kind of finding a balance of, you know, dabbling, but finally deciding on where you want to go with it, you know? Because ultimately you as a business owner, you get to decide what you want to do. Like, you can deny jobs. I mean, at some point you're like, that's not financially sound, but sometimes it doesn't matter. You know, I work a part-time job just so I can get by and get some income, but I'm still building up a business on the side. And when that starts getting busy, and when I don't have as much time for, you know, the retail job I have, I've already told them, like, I don't want to stay with you guys if I have other business opportunities. You know, I don't want to be put behind because I have a 9-to-5 job, because it's not really what my passion is either.
Now, in terms of photography, what exactly is the passion?
The passion?
What really?
I want to shoot people all the time, every day.
All day, every day? All
day, every day.
Just
No, I would like weddings too. So when I learned about doing weddings like a couple of years ago and I was second shooting for people, I hated it. But I realized that the people I was shooting for, they were doing weddings on the side. It wasn't their main thing.
Right.
And they didn't communicate that well with their couples beforehand. And if something went wrong on the day of, they A, were like introverted and didn't know how to handle it, or B, were just kind of swimming around, and then the bride would get a bridezilla, and like the guy would just be like, let's just go drink and forget about this because this is stressful. And all these formals that weren't necessary, or like people were running around and not doing what they're supposed to. So it was just stressful and not something I was interested in. And also the weddings I was going to, I didn't find aesthetically pleasing. So I was like, this is not something I want to do. But with doing it with someone that I admired and someone that was very choosy about who she worked with, and asked a lot of questions and communicated way more than she needed to. Not even way more than she needed to, but communicated all the time with her couples. The day was so much less stressful. They were all on the same page, and they already knew Corey really well. And to me, it's just like night and day. Like, I don't want to do those weddings over there, but if I was to be in charge and I was able to help the couple, and, you know, we were on the same page, then I would enjoy that way more. And they appreciate you. You know, it's all about like communication is one, and then collaboration is another. Like, if the couple doesn't want to collaborate with you and they don't want to work with you, making the day smoother and like enjoyable, then that's not the couple you want to be with, you know? Like, they have to care about what you do. Because you could send them so many photos and you could work super hard, but if they're like, yeah, and then they just forget about you, they don't care about what you did, they don't appreciate it, then it's like, why are you working for them, you know? So that was like a huge thing I learned, is like, you can choose your clients. You don't have to take everybody that comes through your door. And also make kind of obstacles, or make it harder to just sign up and be like, yeah, I want to work with you. You know, make sure that people are interested in you first.
Right. So the objective is to be able to have a business doing photography for people. Would you ever want to venture into doing fine art photography?
Maybe if it was making like a social impact and it had a deeper purpose to it. I don't know. I don't know what opportunities are going to come my way. A lot of people are asking me like, well, where are you and Connor going to live in 5 years? And what are you guys going to be doing for business? And what are you going to be doing for that? And how many kids will you have? And I'm like, what? I'm like, no.
And they say it that quickly?
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, it's like, well, I don't want to have kids right away, because I definitely want to like work on my business and enjoy not having kids. I babysit anyways. Like, I have a ton of kids. I just don't take them home with me. No, I will.
Wait, who are these people that are asking that many?
Strangers, you know, and they're not bad questions. I mean, people are just interested in you. That's how they show interest.
Strangers asking you how many kids you're going to have.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, it's still, to me, it's like we just take it as we come. Like, you know, things will come up. I didn't know I was going to meet this person and do fine art photography with her, but it's something I'm interested in. And I'm going to meet people as I go along and have different opportunities. I just know I want to help people with what I do. And I want to show them that they can be confident in front of camera and they're not, you know, they're worth being remembered in a way. To me, it's like I want to save everything because I want to show people that they're worth something.
Right.
I'm all about caring about people and kindness. And I don't know. That's just what I've been gifted with.
Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. Listen, but you're going to be like, you need to learn to read and you need to get out in this world and do something. And those people will be like, oh, remember my teacher Benson that did this? And now I know how to read. Good for me. You know, it's all stepping stones. People help you in different aspects of life. Mine's just less analytical and more connecting, you know, on a personal level. That's what I'm about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We got the yin and the yang at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? What else have you been up to? What are you going to do for the summer?
This podcasting.
How many people have you podcasted?
You're the
so
first
far?
guest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm honored. What about Courtney? Is she next?
I did a couple practice runs with her where it's just us shooting the shit.
Yeah. That's cool. Shooting shit. Nice.
Shooting shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but this is she doesn't. I feel like she doesn't like being on mic that much.
I love it. So I like being the center of attention. I do.
You are an artist.
Yeah, I am. But at the same time, I don't mind being behind the camera at all and not being noticed. That's fine with me too.
No, but this is I think this is going to be the main thing I'll be doing over the summer, aside from like 1 or 2 classes I'm taking. And I'm going to be interning at the American Mural Project.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Sweet. Are you going to be doing video for them?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, but I think this will, and that only runs for a couple of weeks, but this is going to be the main thing.
When is the mural project going?
It starts on July 8th.
Okay, so it's like a 2-week program. What are you going to be shooting?
I think it's like essentially just like documentary making of behind the scenes of the American Mural Project and what they're doing. So
I went to the get together for that. The woman that like orchestrated it all, and she was kind of like asking questions of where we should go with it, which no one had any idea because they were just kind of trying to figure out what the mural project was about. But
I'm still trying to figure out.
But it sounds like she's painting a lot, and she's also interviewed a lot of the people she has painted, and she's also working with like kids and going out and doing programs with them. So I wonder if you're gonna like go to like camps and see her working with kids, or just see her painting and putting together the mural, or what. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the podcast.
Yeah. So you're going to do that for the summer and this for the summer.
Well, I mean, this is going to be an ongoing thing.
Right.
I'm starting this podcast in the summer.
Yeah.
But it's, I'm going to keep on doing it because, as people might read in the description of the podcast, this is me trying to, the reason I'm trying to have conversations with people on mic is so that I can feed my curiosity, connect with them, and also to get out of the house. Well, not in this case because we're podcasting.
I was going to say, I was like, well, one of those things is not happening.
Inside my house right now.
Yeah, but you can go out and do that still.
Yeah. Especially since I've come up with this list of guests I would like to have, and I'm gravitating towards like lots of educators. Like it might be like it's almost like I've never gone to Wesleyan University. I'm not good enough, but doesn't mean I can't say sit down with a professor from Wesleyan and just talk to them.
What about, is there any professors at your school you would want to interview?
Oh yeah, like the entire English department.
Yeah,
and some people in music school, the film professors, people in the education department I would like to sit down with and have a chat with.
Well, if I could put any advice, little snippet in there, a good way to attract those people, not that they would say no, but, you know, like you have to have a good purpose for what you're doing, and you have to have a goal, you know, and you have to interest the people, not just be like, oh, I just want to chat and babble on. Like, give them something to talk about, especially, you know, so I love small talk and I love getting to know people. Yeah, exactly. Well, someone was like, who's good at small talk the other day? And I raised my hand in a crowd of people, and I was the only one that was raising my hand. I was like, are we not supposed to do this?
I am great at talking about small things.
Yes, exactly. But something you'll find out as you go along is people love talking about themselves. All you need to do is ask a few questions and they can't shut up about something. But if you find a subject that, you know, you're like, I want to kind of focus on this subject, even if it's not really where you stay, but it's something that interests people, they'll come.
Yeah, like do it. One of the guests I would like to have on in the foreseeable future, that's like I wouldn't say a dream, because I haven't heard of them until like the other week when I was looking at people at Wesleyan, the faculty of Wesleyan, and like who they were, is this guy in the astronomy department who has like, you know, 3 or 4 degrees in astronomy and physics and whatever, but he also has a bachelor's in music. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, I'm a musician. We could connect there. I'm interested in astronomy. I was almost an astronomer, but of course I'm not doing that now. But you know, I do have an interest in astronomy, and we're both musicians. We could probably shoot the shit for 3-ish hours.
Shoot all the shit. Yeah. No, it's true though. Yeah. You got to find common interests with people and figure out what they're passionate about. Because that's how you'll get good conversation.
And as much as that sounds like good advice, mm-hmm. I want to stress the fact that these are meant to be less interviews and more just conversations.
Yeah. I
want to connect with them as people, not exact.
Yeah, but you can connect with someone but still have direction.
Not quite as professionals.
Yeah.
Because I think it should.
So just chatting with.
It should be personal connection first, professional connection second.
Yeah.
They're both. You could say they're both important, but I would want to stress the importance of one over the other.
You need to watch some Matt D'Avella. You guys see how he does it? Because he does that too. He has people on who are very passionate about a subject that they're in, and he does have a subject for each one, but it's definitely about him getting to know the person. Like, he talks with them for a while before even starting the interview. It's just really cool to see, because I love that's the way the world is going too. At least what I think with our generation is they're seeing that, like, we don't care about all the professional stuff. Like, we want to get to know the person too, or else we're not going to be interested in that person. And they need to be able to story tell, because that's really how people understand things. If you're in that's not for everybody. Some people are way more analytical, but for a lot of people, they just can't pick it up unless it's told in the story form. So really learning how to connect with people is like huge, because that's the way that our generation, that's what they want to see. That's what they want to be a part of. They want to be a part of a community, whether it's online or in person or what. Like, to me, this is both now. Like, this would be online, and then that's just you and me talking, chatting it up, you know? Where are you going to have the podcast on?
How do you mean?
Like, are you going to put on SoundCloud? I don't even know if they do that. Like,
is SoundCloud still around?
I have no idea. I was never really.
You mean like where I'm going to host it?
Yeah. Like, where can people find your podcast?
I'm going to try to find a hosting service that like puts it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the main place.
Even on like Spotify? It said, do you have to pay for that, right? To get on Spotify, I would think so.
A small fee for hosting services.
What is small?
I don't know. Like, the company I'm looking at right now is called Libsyn. Mm-hmm. And they have like a basic package of like $5 a month to host your podcast.
Like nothing. That's not bad.
But you know, I think as long as I have a hosting service, it will you know, distribute the pod.
Yeah.
Cast.
Would that like put it on different apps? So like, I got an app, I think it was like called Stitchly or something like that. Stitcher, yeah.
Yeah, it just
and it just had a bunch of podcasts on there.
I think whoever the hosting service is, they would be in charge of distributing it to like, say, iTunes and all the different apps people use to get their podcasts. Mm-hmm. Would you have like a website? So my sister has a website, and she's put her podcast on that, and I actually like that better, because as someone who doesn't have an iPhone, like, when I go, you have to go like into
I don't know, whatever the like iTunes or whatever to like listen to a podcast, I can't even pause it. Like if my phone closes off, like to, what is it called? In sleep mode, then it starts all over again.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm in someone's website or if I'm on an app, then I can pause it and fast forward.
Are you running Android?
Yeah.
I think you can find like different podcast apps.
Yeah.
That will do you wonders.
Yeah.
So like the main app I use is not even the iTunes podcast app. It's another one called Pocket Casts. It works well for me.
Yeah. I just use Spotify.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's available on Android. If not, don't kill me.
Too late. No, yeah. I just like Spotify. It's just easy. It's all in one place, I don't listen to a ton of podcasts, but I do listen to
Toddcast.
Have you ever heard of Hidden Brain from NPR?
No.
They talk about like things that you just don't realize are happening, or like why we are the way we
are. You mean the news?
No. It's just like your hidden brain. It's in the podcast name, Benson. It's just what's inside. No, it's cool. It's like, how laughter connects you with people, but you don't realize it. And why people persons and how come people are not, and what dreams mean, stuff like that. So it's pretty sweet. And then I listen to, what is it called? The Moth Radio.
Oh, okay.
Which I love. I love that. I want to go to the city so bad just to go to one of their shows. I wish they had more things like that around Connecticut and around like rural places, but I guess it's hard to pull everybody together.
Right.
Stuff like that, though, I love. It's all about storytelling.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Stories. I can't believe you didn't. What did you do with your photos then? Did you throw them all away, or did you just?
What photos?
The photos from film that you took.
Oh, they're in binders upstairs.
Oh, right.
I didn't throw them out.
You just don't look at them.
No, they're tucked away in the corner.
Bye.
But like all my digital photos.
Sure. Yeah.
They're just gone.
You just delete them after you take them?
Because they're practical, and once I don't need them, I delete them.
Oh my God.
Don't need it, delete it.
And then I'm over here with like 3 hard drives that are full of photos. Except it's stupid. I think so many people keep so many unnecessary photos. I'm like,
yeah,
I could have like half the space, and I could just keep half the photos.
I keep telling Courtney to like purge her hard drive of stuff she doesn't need, and she has like 16 gigabytes of photos. I'm like, how much of those do you need? How many of those are necessary?
That's not a lot of gigabytes. There could be way more.
And then we were like going through her photos to see what she could get rid of. And then she comes across this, we come across this photo of a sink with a certain splatter pattern on it.
That's cool. I bet it looks super awesome. And she wanted to keep it, right?
Yeah, she did. But I'm like, do you need that?
It's not about what you need, Benson. It's what brings you joy, what you like. And now obviously doesn't bring you joy. That's why you don't keep those things. Duh.
Well, it's not photos.
It's still a photo. It's just not a photo of a person.
Wait, what?
It's just, I said that's still a photo of a sink. Is that what you're talking about, right?
No, it's not photos that bring me joy.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly. That's why you don't keep them. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Bye-bye.
I use that space for podcasts. No.
How long have you and Courtney been together? It's been over a year, right?
It's been a couple of years.
Yeah. That was pretty unexpected. When did you guys start dating?
May 2017.
And you met at Northwestern, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Did you meet from the photo class, or was it from?
We were in a drawing class.
Ah.
The first semester, when we were taking photo, it was just she was not in there. You would remember.
Mm-hmm.
But Courtney and I were in a drawing class. We didn't talk then. But the next semester, when we were taking the next drawing class,
drawing 2,
we sat next to each other.
And you had to talk, right?
And then, and she was, I think she was taking photo 1 while we were in photo 2.
Yeah. So, but she was using a dark room.
Yeah.
How do you feel about dating her? I mean, as someone who's very analytical,
what?
Isn't that all about like, people connections like I am?
No, I don't like people.
But you like her, right?
I can like a person. I don't like people.
That's a good point.
Because I don't know if you noticed, but people are terrible.
I don't agree. Like
No,
people have like so much potential.
My point is, it's kind of like the Tommy Lee Jones monologue from Men in Black. Have you seen the movie?
I have. It's been a long, long time.
He's just it's something like, hey, no, a person can be smart. People are stupid.
Yeah. Oh, you learn that from retail too. They just don't get basic things. It's just, honestly, though, it is the way that your brain just thinks about things, and it will make rash decisions that doesn't make any sense.
And not only that, but a collective of people, the aggregate is they're stupid. And even if, just the general public, the aggregate is that they are stupid. It's once you have enough people, they're all average because they are together and they're stupid. Yeah,
well, that's why I think they say to choose your friends wisely and who you spend your time with, because your IQ pretty much levels out with those people. So if there's someone real dumb in the group, like, woo, goes down. But, if you're involved with a lot of people that are not only like analytically smart, but they're also like aware, like socially.
Yeah.
And they're connected with other people, you learn a lot.
There's a reason why most of my guests, my list for podcast guests are like professors, and
but someone can be super smart, but they can be common sense. Like there's no common sense at all. Like they're very stupid in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can be too smart for your own good.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Look at me.
I'm looking.
Arts and humanities, man.
Yeah. But everybody has something to learn. People are strong in some areas and then not strong in others. It's just about trying to fill those gaps, to me.
Yeah.
If you want to be a well-rounded person anyways. Or you just stick where you're good at and that's where you stay.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Was that fun for you?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cool.